There's a school right there. And it's only like, once a day, but right around, what is it? It's 8:07. They do morning announcements at the school, and it's across a canal and everything, and you can hear it. So the kids are all deaf. They've got to be from all the yelling and loudness. But I think the principal reads War and Peace every day. Like these are the long. Do you remember we were in like school and it was like, today we're gonna learn. You're gonna shut up and do as you're told. Like that, That's how I remember it. And this woman's like, and then we had this fabulous kid in this class, and this has been going on for 20 minutes. I'm sorry. It's just, I noticed that it's bizarre how long it takes the principal there to do the morning announcements. Anyway, today we're moving on with my 22 Road Glide special, the build we're doing over time, where we're going to do some major stuff down the road, engine stuff, body work, all that stuff. But I thought we would start with some what I call level 1 upgrades, which is stuff for those at home that are brand new to doing anything to their bike. This stuff is not intimidating. You don't even need a lift or a jack. I'm not going to use it today just to prove a point. We've already put slip-ons on it. So look in the history, that's on there. So that's just a real simple, easy thing to do. And today we're going to do the rear end lighting. Multiple parts that we're adding, but we're going to light up the whole rear end because honestly, I'll show you something that I'm not a huge fan of on this bike or any new Harley. With today's technology and LED and stuff that's out there, I just don't feel like that's adequate. The older you get, you start worried about somebody taking you out, getting rear-ended or something. And you've got a little reflector, which that's coming off because it's goofy looking, and 2 incandescent bulbs, and that's it. We went on a 120-mile circle, me and the wife, yesterday, and even she remarked, like, those lights aren't very bright. Like, you just don't have a lot of lighting back there. And there's a lot of really cool stuff out there. So one of the companies I'm crazy about, and I've bought this stuff before this channel ever existed, all that stuff, is Custom Dynamics. I've had their headlights, their turn signals, the pro beams, all that stuff. When the new version comes out, I would get that just because I think lighting is legitimately important, on your bike. Like, they need to see you, okay? So we're doing 4 things on the back of this bike today. We're going to change the turn signals, the circles out, just the inserts, for the dual color pro beam. So they're a red LED running light, a red LED brake light, and an amber turn signal. Actually change colors. We're going to add the tri-bar light down here. Right now, that's just a running light, not a brake light or anything, and it's very dim. We're going to change that for an actual, brake light as well, a running light, brake light that's brighter. And we're going to add one of my freaking favorite things. I put them on the wife's bike. I put them on a bunch of stuff over the years, and that's the little strip lights that go under the lids on there. So those become run light, turn signals, brake lights, all that, but the turn signals are amber. So both of these, will be amber when the turn signal's on. So that'll light up the rear end, it'll look cool, and it's a lot safer. And during the process, again, the bonus is I get to ditch that reflector that I think is just kind of goofy looking. But, all right, so step 1 is to bring the stuff out here and start reading the directions. That may not be as easy. We'll see. This is all easy, but we'll find out. This is pretty wild. I anticipated the tri-bar being like the most challenging, thing to do, and not at all. It just plugs in. Like, you change it out. There's 2 screws and stuff, but it looks like the bike already sends the signal for brake. That was the thing. I was thinking, well, if it's not a brake light now, then there's going to be a wiring harness or something, but totally wrong. The bike already sends evidently a brake, signal to that light. It's just the light itself is just a one-way light, I guess. So it's only a run light right now. So all I'm going to do is I took the saddlebags off, real easy. And then I'm going to take off a wire clip under there and 2 T25s. So it's like a 7/16 nut and 2 T25s to get the light out of there, unplug it. You just plug in the new one and install the new one. That's it. There's no wiring at all. And while I'm under there, while the tri-bar light is out, it should give me more room to get up to the back side of the light bar, so I can take those nuts off, get it away from the bike so that I can take the reflector off. The reflector is held on the back side of the light bar with 2 screws, and you just can't get to it when it's on the bike. So if you don't mind it, then leave it. It's not a big deal. But what I'm doing, again, there's 2 nuts on the back side of that light bar where the turn signals are, and then the reflector is mounted on the back side of that. So you take it away from the bike real easy, take 2 screws off, and just put it back on. None to it. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I've already gotten this off, but I figured I'd show you. So there's two 9/16 bolts, not nuts, that go from the back side of the fender into the light bar. So up from the back side, I used a, what did I use? Just a 9/16 on my 1/4 inch ratchet, I think. Yeah, to get those out, because it is tight back there, so you don't want to try and use a 3/8, it's probably too big. So get those out, this drops free, and then two T25 screws hold that reflector holder onto the back of the light bar. You take those T25s out. The license plate comes away also. So you just remove the bracket, then put the license plate back on, two T25s, tighten it up, put the bar on there, fiddly 9/16 bolts, you're done. So that got rid of that flag that stood up there. So if you have that, that's how you take that off. Okay, so next, so what I've done so far is I installed the tri-bar light and I removed that goofy looking mast reflector. Next one, these are like $100, $120, something like that, and that's the Pro Beam turn signal inserts. These are mindless. Like you should do these. These are safe. It's a brighter run light, a brighter turn signal. You can get them that are just red. Like you don't have to do the amber thing. I thought that was cool because I think people see that a little more if you got an amber turn signal. But so these run red, brake red, and then turn signal turn amber while they're flashing. And these came with the Magic Strobe module. I didn't know that. I wasn't paying attention or something like that. So there's a box, and I'll show you real quick. It's this little simple doodad that I've lost. I went ahead and lost that. No, okay, here it is. So let me flip this around so you can see the be under the seat. So I've removed the seat. If you don't know how to do that, it's a single screw right there. And what you've got is all of the electronics going to the entire back half of the bike involve two plugs, okay? The first one being the antenna. So you may not even have that if you have like an Ultra or something. If you have an Ultra, there's two because there's a separate one for the Tour Pack as the rest of the bike, but I don't mean to confuse you. On a Road Glide or Street Glide or Electric Glide Standard or Road King, there's one plug that is every single light in the back of the bike, and that's right here. This is the Magic Strobe module. This just plugs in line with that. So you very simply just grab this guy, press right here, right? So now I've unplugged the rear fender from the bike. This plugs in, male to female, female to male, and interrupts the signal from the bike and makes all the lights flash. So when I hit the brakes, my brake lights are gonna flash 4 times and then hold. That's the way I have it set up. There's that little knob on the back there. You can turn that, the instructions are in there to make it flash more or flash and then wait a second and then do it again. There's all kinds of settings. I'm not trying to make anyone nauseous behind me, so I just leave it at, flash 4 times. But that is a neat safety feature and, a good idea if you're so inclined. But this setup that I'm putting in came with that, both Pro Beams and the Magic Strobe. So I'm going to throw that in there. And then the lights are literally just, there's a slot at the bottom of the lens. You take a standard screwdriver, you stick it up in there and turn, and they just pop out. They're not screwed on. There's no fasteners. They just pop out. And then you just take the bulb, push in, turn left, they come out. And the new one has a plug, push in, turn right, coil up the wire, put the lens back on. It's nothing to it. So you could leave that module off, or I'm sure they sell this without the module, but it's probably bundled. But yeah, I mean, just changing those out from incandescent to LED, I think that should just be done in the dealer parking lot before you go home, because it's a lot safer. That, and you can change your lenses to smoke if you want to. That's the other thing. You can run clear lenses, smoke lenses, red lenses, whatever you want, because the LED lights themselves are red. So it doesn't matter what the lens color is. Whereas on the bike from the factory, you can change those to smoke lenses, I guess, if you wanted to, but you'd have to change the bulb to a red bulb. So anyway, so let me plug this in real quick. We'll flip those out. And then the last thing to do is the light strips on the backs. I showed you the wrong plug. This is not the turn signal plug. This is the turn signal plug. So not the gray one, the black one. I'm sorry. These are the lights on your rear fender. The entire lighting assembly runs through that plug. I don't know what the gray one is. Maybe ECM stuff. But anyway, let's see if I have a code when I turn the bike back on now that I've unplugged that. I'm sure I won't. And if you do, you can clear those. Whole other topic. So this is the one you unplug and plug that in line. All right. So I realized I was not recording. So there's a slot right there. Just feel around the edge. And you just take your screwdriver, stick it in the slot. If you find it, you're not holding the camera, turn the screwdriver. There you go. And then the light, grab it, push, turn left. That's it. So they push in, turn left, they're out. The new one has that. Push. There's a slot even for a screwdriver. I can't do this in one hand, but you're gonna, there, well, I can't, no, I can't. All right, any screwdriver. You're gonna push that in, turn, and then that just gets tucked in there and you put the new lens on. So that's it. I'll be back. All right, I don't remember where I left off. I had to go inside and do the work that pays the mortgage. So those are in now. Lenses are snapped on. So next step is going to be the bag lights, the little, cool LED lines that go to the top of the bags under the lids. And step one, because I've done these a bunch of times, I thought I'd go ahead and just show you this. I've already done it. But where we did the strobe earlier, there's another box that comes with the bag light strips. So you just plug that in line, which I already tucked down here, didn't think. So from the bike to the strobe, magic strobe, sorry. And then this one goes in line. And what this does is it creates the leads for the lights that go back there. So it creates little wires that you tuck down through the hole here, or you can take it off and run it through the side cover, whatever you're gonna do. But what you're doing is that little adapter creates these guys. Whoop, scheiße. Hang on. Creates these plugs, and these plugs are what run the lights. The lights go on the bags with just 3M adhesive tape. All right, so I've got the bag laying on my, again, trash dumpster / workbench. And then what you've got is this light. Check them, they're not universal. There's one that has a different, they angle differently from one bag to the other. So this guy, when I peel the 3M tape off, is gonna stick right there underneath the bag lid, and then on the inside of the bag, you're going to use, on the inside of the bag there, you're going to use these guys in a line along the way to secure that wire, and then this wire at the end of the light plugs into the line I just showed a second ago. So this is super easy stuff. No drilling, no cutting, none of that stuff, no gluing. You're just, it's really easy. The adapter goes under the seat, and that creates the lines. Make sure you go left to left and right to right. Otherwise, you're going to have confusing lights in the back. And then when that's done, you just stick on your lights, attach the wire to the back of the bag, plug it in, and those are done. So nothing to it. So I'm going to throw this on real quick, throw on the other one, then I'll show you what these look like. Real quick, I thought I'd show you. So I've stuck the light on. These are the mounts I was talking about. I buy these on Amazon by the 100. So they're good to keep in the toolbox. But this set comes with 6. So 3 per side. So you put it under the bolt in the middle, the other bolt. You can't see this wire, of course, because, this is the back of the bag. And then this is the plug hanging here that's going to plug into the wire I showed earlier. And that's it. These easily disconnect. So when you take the bags off, there's a little clasp you just push down on, and these unplug and, take the bag off. So we throw this one on, do the other one, and we'll be done. All right, we're done. So I put on the tri-bar light, the color changing, what do you want to call it? Amazing Technicolor probing rear turn signals, the bag light LEDs, the strobe module, a couple of things I did, like while I've got everything apart. And my favorite seat that I pretty much have ever owned is actually the stock seat off my wife's CVO. So my wife has that 2019 CVO Road Glide, and the seat that came on this bike is a 2-piece. It's very small. It's very far back on the bike and very low on the bike. And those are my favorite things, is to be far back on the bike and, down low in it. And the seat that came on that bike's really good. My second favorite seat that I run all the time is the Advan Raptor seat, which is what that is, but it's buried under stuff, which is a 2-up seat, the same basic shape as a stocker, but with much better foam and some gel padding in it, and a lot cooler looking. But again, if I'm solo riding, I always run that stock CVO seat because, again, far back, down low. So I swapped that out while it was off. What else did I do? Anything? Found a better rear seat screw. Stuff like that. So the bike's brand new, and I left it stock. The plan was to leave it stock, and I just couldn't. I was losing my mind. I had to start changing stuff. So the thing that I dislike the most so far about this bike is I can't stand stock bars. I always run at least like a 14-inch mini 8. And this is on stock bars and will be for a while because I have a set of custom-made 1-of-1 18-inch Tab Performance Folsom prison bars that are currently black, because they only make them in black thus far. And I'm taking them to a chrome shop to have them chromed, and that's going to take 12 weeks. So I have to run those up probably tomorrow and drop those off, and then I'll have them by Sturgis. But this is going to have stock bars on it for a couple months. But I'm blabbering on. So the rear end is done. I'll show you the lights. Tomorrow I'll do the front end lighting, which would be the headlight, the brand new X headlight, which is really cool. The vent lights on either side of the headlight, and the upper fang lights by the windshield. And I have the cool little bullet lights that replace the entire turn signal assembly on the lower fairing. So that'll be a fun video. That'll really change the look of the bike. And then it's probably going to kind of stay the way it is for a couple months until we get into the body. We're going to do a cam, we're going to do a head pipe, we're going to tune it, and then wheels and body and a chrome forks. I'm going to do that myself this time because I did it on the chopper. But anyway, now shut up. I'll show you the new lighting. So there you have, run lights, right? So you got brighter LEDs, you got the tri-bar, and you've got the lights on the saddlebags. Let me turn on a turn signal. I can't do a brake. It just won't, the camera won't get around there, but I'll show you left turn signal. And so that's the new thing about these. You see they flash amber. And you can get these, red, all red that stay red. You can get them that aren't progressive. You just want them to flash. There's different options, but these are pretty much the Cadillacs as far as, color changing, and then amber, progressional, and blah, 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 those, and all that stuff. So I wish I could show you the rear end, but when I hit the brakes, those become brake lights along with those and the tri-bar. And then also I got the strobe ones. They flash a couple times. But there you go. So for now, there you have it. There you are. Let me know what you think. Any questions? I read every comment. I try to reply. I don't reply to every comment, but I try. But I really appreciate it. If you hit the thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that. Make sure you're subbed and all that. Love you all to death. Take care of each other out there. We'll talk real soon. Bye.